You all win first prize for arriving today. And your reward is to settle in, to actually do what your intention guided you here today to do. What does an exhale feel like when it's felt fully? That any sort of holding on to the last inhale be released. Gesundheit. After really submitting, surrendering to an exhale, who or what breathes in? What does that experience feel like when it comes from nature, when it comes from the body? Let's leave breathing be breathing while still observing the breathing. It's a practice of clear observation without interference. Can you feel what that means? Those are a lot of big words. Can you feel into proximity without worry? What is it like to be near something and not worry about it? You don't have to worry about anything happening in the future or the past. There's no more goal. Set aside everything but just what's arising. The altar to be bowed to is not have a Buddha on it. It's not a statue. It's whatever sensation is arising related to the breath. Breath is sensation, changing sensations. It's the felt sense of breathing. That's the object. Without perception and conception, it's what's speaking the loudest right now in the room. It's the breath. It's what appears when world goes silent. Maybe there's the background of a heartbeat. What if instead of attending to the breath were attend to you? I know that sounds like a riddle, but that's what mindfulness is. It's letting reality do half the work, letting it be. So we become the three-dimensional environmental space for the breath, not a set of fixed heavy eyes staring into something internal. We're exposed by the breath. Without reference to thoughts or labels or memories. There's no room, there's no body. We are the room. We are the sensation. Dialing back the experience to what it's like to breathe as a young baby. There's no confusion there. Immediacy. See if we can relax a little more. Let the breath come to us. The more we relax into the sensations, it's more softening of taking off the VR goggles, the virtual reality we're trying to live in. Stop trying to have a spiritual experience. Drop any shoulds. We can invite curiosity into the relaxation without altering relaxation. There's an intimacy that comes from being curious in a relaxed state. What is this breath like right now? What is this sensation without reference to images, thoughts, and memories? Is there a little man or woman inside of us pulling all the levers in control? Is there a breather? Is there a one true you that's in control? Or is there just breathing happening? There's an experiencer. How do you know there's a person inside of you experiencing the world? You step behind that center, that focus. If you can step behind a experiencer, it means that that experiencer was not the true experiencer. It's just made up by a thought. So that just means we can relax even more, accept whatever is arising. False doesn't mean wrong, just means false, just means we've fabricated, made up something. The self doesn't exist without this activity of making things up, creating a self on one side and a world on the other. But in the present moment, in this sensation right now, there's no behind or in front, there's no here, there's no there. Contact always happens at one point. There's always connection. We're never out of connection. Do you feel there's an open door for you there? The malaise of our time, of all time, is not feeling connected. It's born out of this stance of the self that has to manufacture itself, pull itself apart. And the breath heals as it brings us into intimacy, into connection. And really, you can feel this malaise of solitude, separateness, and you can feel the medicine of the breath. It's inspiration to connect. You can connect with other human beings even when they're being rude or mean. And it's healing even then. We don't have to change our behavior, but we can connect in the mind. We know they're acting out of their own confusion. We can see the medicine of connection. It's the medicine of mindfulness, medicine of the breath. It's not made up or manufactured. I hope you really feel this at a deep layer. It means you'll always be able to meditate no matter where you are. You'll never feel that anxiety that comes from disconnection. You might forget it, but you can always come back to it. But like anything, we need to make it a habit. In life, we're always running from deeply feeling. So deeply feel the breath. Sink in. Let's enjoy this together in silence so that we can all know. We don't have to look outside of ourselves for our medicine anymore. We're experiencing oneness every second, the oneness of contact, merging of internal and external. We just have to take our VR goggles off and feel it in each breath. Open up to the sensation in the feet or one foot. Keep challenging the obsession with thinking. We identify with thought so much. We treat sensation as a thought. What are the sensations in the knees, shins? Versus what is the thought of those sensations? You orient away from the thought filter into the thing itself. There's refuge in the sensation. There's no refuge in more thought. It just flattens the world, objectifies it. Makes us feel small when we experience pain. Rather, the experience of pain points to infinity, exposure, being touched on all sides, embraced on all sides. We're supported at every point. What are the sensations in your thighs and upper legs versus the thought of them? You feel the difference. Just let the image of the upper legs arise and disappear. Just be with the sensation. The only true reference point here. What about the hips? Any warmth or buzzing? Lower abdomen, breath, the belly expanding and contracting. Let the tension release, the body sink. The arms be heavy, hands heavy, jaw heavy. Relax the back of the neck, drop the chin a little, relax the eyes, sit back a little more. Weight and fatigue will bring us forward. Thoughts will bring our head down. Relax and lean back just a few millimeters. Relax the face and the jaw. See if you can feel the whole field of sensation, the space you call your body. lacks any sense of having a body, anything to do with it. In this field of sensation, if you can feel it, there's no difference between the sensation, say at the throat or the heart, in the middle of the right palm. There's just a map that says this is the right palm and this is the heart or the throat. It's just a buzzing sense. And it's the same everywhere. We just label it differently. Only slight degrees of difference. A little more buzzing, a little more warmth, a little more or less pressure. But beneath all that, there's just a sense of appearing and disappearing, of sensation. It's all one. If you can notice any thinking that's happening without getting entangled to it. See if you can be in proximity with thinking without worrying about it, what it means. It's just a space of knowing thinking happening is happening on its own, like the breath. It's automatic. We don't have to worry about the breath. We don't have to worry about thinking. If you can notice the gaps between the breath, the gaps between the thoughts. Try and stay in the gap. So that the breath appears as one big surprise out of nothing. And the next thought appears, one big surprise out of nothing. Nothing to fear and experience, just a stream of white light coming from the back of the room in the movie theater. The color appears when it hits the screen. The story is just shapes and colors. They don't belong on the screen. They have no reality. They slide off of it. They don't stick. This is a non-sticking world where the story lands. It's nothing to fear. Nothing to fear. It's nothing to fear in a non-sticking world. Look back. What's doing the projecting? Where is the world being projected from? Turn the direction back to the source. So there's something there that's always been there before the stream of light got projected against a screen, created a story that you label as your story, even though it doesn't stick or land. One of the words we translate as wise in Buddhist language means that which remains, or that which was there before it all began. Sense of knowing. Not an object, it's not a thought, it's not a label, it's not an image. Truly belongs everywhere. Belongs before belonging was possible. The mind stops trying to understand. It can be a feeling of warm radiance in the heart, of love and connection. It's not one space of connection, or not two either. It's just happening. And spread loving kindness in all directions. Suffering beings in the world, polluted by excessive greed and hatred, deluded by this idea that there's a separate self, that it can stand apart, control the universe. That its tools are greed and hatred, liking and disliking. And that strife, not peace, comes from standing apart and liking and disliking as tools. We can choose oneness and knowing connection as our deeper, truer nature, to heal that separateness and to heal that reflexivity, those limited tools. We can have preferences for peace, work to build peace together. We can start with our own heart, healing sense of shame that we might have, that our life isn't good enough, that it needs to be better. We start by not believing that it's just a thought. We start by feeling the connection, practicing loving kindness, metta, practicing connection through the breath at all times, seeing with wisdom things as they truly are, what's true and what's not true, having meaningful conversations with friends, planning a meaningful connection with someone every day, where we can authentically relate. Setting aside distractions. Even just setting them aside for an hour or two every evening or morning. Picking up this medicine of connection, the medicine of attention to what's arising, presence. This is the way. Is there another way? Can you feel it? Do you feel inspired this morning to embrace this? If you feel it, you share that wish with all beings, that they set aside greed, hatred, and delusion. They take up this path. Support each other in community and fellowship. We're big enough to love everyone and everything. There's no limit to our openness. We're built with broken doors. They're all open. Our sense doors don't have a door to shut. We can't shut out a sound. Even in sleep, we wake up if the sound arises. We're open, open, open. We only close with the mind. We only find limits in the mind. We only identify with those limits in the mind. We're vast, infinite points of contact everywhere, even in the smallest point, even in suffering, in our darkest moments. Our liberation is in our exposure, not in the thought or the fear that's generated from the thought. Life is simple again in this exposure, in this openness. There's true joy there and freedom. My wish for all of you is that you taste this freedom. It feels paradoxical to transcend by going in to sensation, but it's the only way. May we support each other this year and find deep roots in this connection together. May you feel loved, heard, and seen. May you always feel this connection. May all our hearts be free.